So we're going to begin with my all-time favorite move, the hip circles. And for those that haven't done hip circles before, I hope you have, but one leg stays bent all the time and is always in contact with the floor. The other leg is the one that does the movement. And you don't have to completely straighten your leg when we extend it, but you're trying to make as big a movement as possible on your end. So we'll begin coming down to the floor, and you can come down to the floor any way you like. I like to hold the back of the legs. Type A's, you put hands in front of the heart. Type A pluses, you reach the arms overhead and slowly come down. And the rest of us just collapse to the floor. We're all there anyway. So I like to begin with the right leg. We'll bring the right knee in towards the chest. And we'll come across the body. So if you come across the body, we just let the hips go. If the hip leg makes it to the floor, great. If not, great. From there, not letting the knee drift away from you, slowly straighten your leg. So if you do that, the leg will be about 90% straight. From there, we'll swing the leg around along the floor. About halfway through, we use the opposite leg to push over and get the leg to the floor. So now we keep the leg straight for as long as possible. Once we get stuck, then you can bend the knee. When you bend the knee, you can bring the knee in a little bit closer and start it all over again. And I like to do 9 each direction, at least to begin with. Eventually, you work up to 27 each direction. Rotate through this, keep the leg straight as long as possible. Once you're stuck, bring that knee in, and bring that knee into the chest. Get a little bit of abdominal work to bring the knee in. The hardest part is counting to 9.
Frank, it's really hard to hear you.
Hard to hear me. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll try to talk a little bit louder, but that's...
Okay. I didn't know if it was the microphone.
It's probably me. I will try to get a little bit louder, but we'll see how that goes. What number are we on? 5. You can move at your own pace. I like to move a little bit slower than most, mainly because there's usually a click or a crack that you get in the hip along the way. And if you move a little bit slower, many times you can eliminate that crack. And you may feel a little burning sensation in your hip. The outer thigh and the glute muscles, lactic acid starts to build up. So sometimes you feel a slight burning sensation. It goes away. Is that right? Hold on. Remember to use that opposite leg to help move you over. We're trying to take pressure off the hip and trying to increase mobility in the hip. Flexibility is very good, but mobility of the joints is what we look to maintain. Doesn't matter if you can bend over and touch your toes if you can't move at the hip. And hopefully we're at number 9 here, but again, we all move at a different pace. And after number 9, you just take a little bit of a breather. Okay, and you can release the leg down to the floor for a breath or 2. And keeping with the same leg, we'll reverse direction. So we'll bring that right knee back in towards the chest, but now we drop over, the outer thigh touches the floor first. But same movement, you straighten the leg. Again, ideally without the knee drifting away from you, then you're not completely straightening the leg. And we slide the leg along the floor, again, using that opposite leg to help push us over to the other side. Keeping the leg straight as long as possible. Once you're stuck, bring that knee in. Bring that knee in towards the chest so you open up the glutes and open up the hamstrings, lower back a little bit more. Again, at your own pace, and sometimes you'll get a click or crack one direction, not necessarily the opposite Keep it slow and smooth. We're just trying to get that more range of motion through the joints. Tendons, ligaments, joints, very poor blood supply. So getting movement into there is a very healing process. Right? It's what? Okay. Getting a little bit of a click on this side, so I'm going to start moving just a little bit slower, right where I feel that range. So for me, it's on the side over here. As I straighten the leg and I start to move here, I'm going to slow it down just a little bit. There we go. Again, you can ideally eliminate that click. Realigning those joints, getting that mobility back. I'm sorry? I know we just do 9, and again, ideally we work up to 27, but that could take a while. It could be your only movement. Great movement to do in the morning. Just 9? Yeah. Good. We're on number 9 here. Hopefully you are too. Or at least close to it. And after number 9, I'd like to come back to the center for a moment and just see how that right hip feels compared to the left. Take a couple of breaths. Let the body absorb what it just did and see how you feel from side to side. And then another breath or two, we'll be ready to start the left leg. The same way, we bring the left knee in towards the chest. Personally, I like to come across the body first. So we come across the body, stack the hips, straighten the leg without that knee drifting away from you. Use that quadricep to do it, and that way we open up the hamstring glute and protect the integrity of the joint. We swing the leg around along the floor, using that opposite leg to help push us over. Stack the hips. Leg stay straight as long as possible. Get stuck, bring the knee in towards the chest, and start it all over again. One side, you're probably going to feel a little bit more open than the other. Pay attention to that. Become more aware of your own body and the differences side to side. This side, for me personally, much tighter. So I have to be more aware during the day what kind of stress I'm putting on this leg compared to the opposite side. Maybe I'm leaning more weight onto it. And again, for me personally, definitely more cracking, more crunching, especially when I bring that knee in towards the chest. So once again, I'm going to slow it down in that part and see if I can help open that up a little bit more. Again, that lactic acid may start to build up. Me personally, this side is burning a little bit quicker. But feel the burn, do it anyway. That's left over from the 90s. And you're always allowed sound effects, especially in the comfort of your own home. You can make whatever sound effects you want. I always like them. They help the movement a little bit more.
Make sure you're on mute.
Just make sure you're on mute so your friends don't hear you. Very good movement, especially after traveling, driving, airplane flights. Because we get stuck in that position, and the hips want to be very mobile. And after number 9, we just take a little bit of a breather there before we switch directions, readjust your clothing if you need to. And when we're ready, we'll begin. Bring that knee back in towards the chest. Now we drop to the outside. Outer line of the leg hits the floor first. Straighten the leg and swing that leg around. And using that opposite leg to help push us over. If it bothers your knee, you're probably hyperextending the knee, so just keep the knee just a little bit bent. And don't forget to bring that knee in towards the chest. Keep that leg straight as long as possible. But then you bend the knee and you use the abdominals to help open the glutes and hamstrings. Looking for those little clicks and cracks. Sometimes it's just in a certain range. And become more aware, slow the movement down a little bit in that spot, and we can help eliminate those. This one work. And your body, my body crawls across the floor a little bit, so I always have to readjust myself on the mat. Very natural. Hopefully you have room to crawl. If not, you just readjust the body in between. Hopefully I don't move out of the camera view, but I move so much. And keep that movement fluid. And unless you get the click, then that's when you can pause a little bit more, slow it down a little bit more. Just 8 or just 9. And almost there. One more to go. And open that glute, open that hamstring. Good. After we're done with number 9, you just release the leg, the soles of the feet back down to the floor. And if you crawl, I'm way off the mat, so I'm going to push myself back here. All right, again, just take a few breaths. Let the body absorb that movement for the hips. Notice how the hips, outer thighs, lower back, abdominals, hamstrings feel. And now gently walk the feet together, knees together. And we'll let those knees just drop over to the right. Try not to make any changes. Try not to force it, but just let the knees drop over. If the legs reach the floor, great. If they don't, great. Let's get that movement into the body. And using the bottom leg, push the bottom leg into the top leg to come back to center. So use the inner thighs. Keep that energy in the midline of the body. Keep the pressure off the outer hips. And then slowly let your knees drop over to the left. Right away, you feel one side's a little bit tighter than the other. And just be aware of that, and maybe during the day, become aware so you can open that tighter side a little bit more. Notice if you're doing something different. Again, use the bottom leg to come back to center. And we'll let the knees drop back over to the right. The second time around, you may open a little bit more. The body begins to release a little bit further. And using the bottom leg to come back to center. And then we'll go again to the left. Once again, using the bottom leg, slowly come back to center. One more time to the right. And then slowly, using that bottom leg, come back to center. And one more time to the left. So if this was your tighter side, stay here for 3 more breaths. If it was the opposite side, then use the bottom leg to come back to center, let the knees drop back over to the right, and stay there for 3 breaths. And give a little bit more attention to the tighter side, and use our breath to help open the body a little bit more. And after the 3 breaths, you just use your bottom leg to come back to center. Good. Readjust the body, lift the hips up if you need to, open up the lower back. So we kept the upper body still and moved through the lower body. Now we're going to keep the lower body still and move through the upper body. So I'm going to come to the side. I'm going to turn myself around so it makes it easier to see. I'm going to lie on my right side. Knees will be facing towards the right. At home, if you need a pillow or something underneath your head, very easy to do. Blanket, anything. You're going to take the left arm on top of the right. So the knees will stay in this direction. I'm going to reach this arm forward. I want to stretch the upper back out first. 2 ways to do it. One way is to keep your arm straight. Slowly bring the upper body. Ideally, you release the shoulder to the floor first and then the arm. The hand would be the last thing to touch the floor. If you want to rotate through the head, you can rotate through the head and look out over the thumb as well. Sore neck, sore upper back, just keep looking up towards the ceiling. And as you come back to the center, you just take the arm back up overhead. So that's option A, or option 1, however you want to call it. And we'll go to option 2. Option 2, I prefer, you still reach the arm forward. I want to stretch the upper back out first. But this way I roll through the body a little bit more. So I just slide the arm across the opposite arm, across the upper chest. This allows me personally to release the shoulder to the floor first, easier, and then the hand can reach down to the floor. And coming back to the center, same way. I just bend the hand in first, keep the arm low, slide across the upper chest, reach the arm back over. Ideally, we keep the lower body still, but you'll notice the lower body is going to move a little bit with it. But again, reach the arm forward, stretch out the upper back first, then we can slide the arm over or reach the arm over. Again, your option. I like options. One's always a little bit more comfortable. Reach the arm out. Personally, I feel much more opening in the chest and shoulder when I do it that way. And we slowly come. Again, we're doing 9 each side. Extend the arm forward. Get that pre-stretch of the upper back. Pre-stretch of the upper back. And then as we come in, then we get that mobility, that movement into the shoulder blades, into the shoulder, and come across the body. So then we come back to center. Good. Extend the arm forward, pre-stretch that upper back. Reach forward with the upper back. Good. And then slowly slide, opening the body up. Or again, reach the arm up, either way. Good. The arm, right? Slide the arm, open that upper body, rotate that upper body. Watch the lower body coming with you. Right? You can add a little strength of keeping the knees over to help open the body a little bit more. You may notice the upper back opens a little bit more. You can reach that top arm a little bit further. Good. Step the arm. Feels nice to stretch. Slide the arm. That movement, that rolling through the upper body. Good. That was it. And we have one more here. Again, hopefully you do too. But again, we always move at our own pace. Slide the arm, opening that upper body. Number 9, so we'll leave the arms out. Leave the upper body to the floor. We use that bottom leg to slowly take the legs back to center. And then we gently drop the knees to the opposite side. Okay, one side you're going to be a little bit tighter. So now the arm's out. I'm just going to bend the arm in, because that's the way I like to do it. And you can always keep the arm straight if you like. Extend that top arm. And then we slide the arm across. If you're doing it this way, across the upper chest. Again, for me personally, it allows me to reach the shoulder to the floor first, which is ideal. Then I don't put any pressure on the front of the shoulder and the bicep tendon. And then slowly release. And your body's going to prefer moving one side more than the other. And number 2. And slowly coming back. Reach that top arm forward, so we stretch out that upper back. Forward. Ideally, we keep the knees to the opposite direction. Right? We can use the strength of the legs to push just a little bit if we need to. Always we have that tighter side, right? Needs a little bit more work, a little bit more attention. And sometimes you'll feel it a little differently. Sometimes you'll feel the obliques. Sometimes you'll feel the rib cage. Sometimes you feel the shoulders. Ideally, as we move through, right, we can reach that top arm just a little bit further, bring that upper back a little bit more. Me personally, I notice I'm moving my hips and lower body a little bit more on the side, so a little bit tighter. Just trying to see where I feel that tightness, and if I can release that a little bit more. Good. That reach, stretch out that upper back, roll through that upper body, open that upper body. Go. And for us here, this is number 9. And hopefully we're somewhere near that same. Release that arm. Open the upper body. And number 9, you can just leave the arms out. Use that bottom leg to slowly take the legs back to center. And take a breath or two. letting that body absorb that twist. And for me, personally, I feel that much more in the abdominal area. Rib cage opened up a little bit more as well, which is kind of nice this time of year. Strengthening the breath. And then you can drop the knees over to either side. Let the upper body follow. Just roll yourself in fetal position, and we can slowly press the body up. And once again, the hands can be to the back of the legs, hands in front of the heart will slowly come back down to the floor. Or quickly, again, depending how tired we are. Now we'll take the legs out towards the edges of the mat. So when we drop the knees over to the right, the upper body stays still, we drop the knees over to the right. Now the left knee is going to reach towards the right instep. So one leg may reach the floor, the other one's going to be up in the air a little bit, opening up that outer thigh, opening up that hip. The best we can, we don't push the legs, you can't push the legs together, but you can use that bottom leg. Use the strength of the inner thighs to come back to center, and then let the knees drop over to the left. So the right knee will be towards the left instep. On one side, you may feel that outer thigh a little bit more, all the way up into the hip. You slowly come back to center. Again, over to the right. And slowly back to center. Once again to the left. And slowly back to the center. One more time to the right. Good. And then to the center. And one more time to the left. And slowly come back to the center. Once again, walk those feet together, knees together. Let the knees drop to either side. Let the upper body follow. Roll yourself in fetal position. You can use that top leg. Use that top leg to counterbalance the body so you can slowly press the body up. We can extend those legs out in front of us. Can't quite read the screen, but it looks like we're running out of time. We'll do one quick hamstring stretch here. Grab hold the back of the left leg, ideally just above the knee. Always like to pull those tendons in towards the body. Now the sole of the foot can touch the inner thigh if you like. Me personally, my hip's a little bit more comfortable if I have a little space. I have about 2 to 3 inches from the sole of the foot to the inner thigh. The right leg is extended, the toes are pointing up towards the ceiling. Relax the shoulders away from the ears with the in-breath. Lift your rib cage, not your shoulders. Lift your rib cage, and then the out-breath, let the body come forward. You can slide the hands down the leg. If you touch your toes, great. If you don't, great. You just want to open up that hamstring a little bit and lower back. If you can reach the foot, you may want to take your hand to the outside of the foot. We tend to get very tight in the inner thighs, and our feet rotate in slightly. So by pulling the outer edge of the foot, you can extend through the inner thigh, the inner edge of the foot a little bit more. The in-breaths, we lengthen, we lift the rib cage, extend the upper body a little bit more. The out-breath, we get the release, let the body, let the sternum release towards the knees. One more breath. And with your next in-breath, we slowly lift the upper body. Take the hand to the outside of the knee, bring that knee in towards the chest, extend out through that leg. Good. Now we switch sides. And if you can grab hold just above the knee, you can grab those tendons, and you can push those tendons into the body. That will help create space in your knee. And once again, I prefer 2 to 3 inches from that inner edge of the sole of the foot to the inner thigh. Your sole of the foot can be right against the inner thigh. So this leg, I noticed that this foot turns in a little bit more, so I want to be a little bit more aware. Extend through the inner thigh a little bit. In breath. Shoulders stay relaxed. We lift the rib cage. The out breath, we bring the body forward. Oh, being I'm almost out of time, I have to tell the dad joke. So, if you witness a robbery at the Apple store, are you an eyewitness? The in breath, we lengthen through that rib cage. The out breath, let the body release. In breath, keep the shoulders relaxed, extend, lift the rib cage. The out breath, release that sternum towards the
3 minutes. 3 minutes out. Good.
One more breath. Good. And then with your next in breath, slowly lift the body back up. Take the hand to the outside of the knee. Slowly bring that knee in towards the chest. Extend the legs out. Keep your legs about hip width apart. Again, look at your feet. Maybe your feet are turning in a little bit as well. So it's just a little tightness of the inner thighs. This time of year it happens quite a bit. And we see if we can just extend the inner line of the leg a little bit further. If you need to readjust the hips, take the hands underneath the shoulders, lift the hips up, do a little shake and bake. Relax the hips, relax the lower back. Good. So feet hip width apart, legs hip width apart. Relax those shoulders. In breath, lift that rib cage. Out breath, go ahead and bring the body forward. Try not to lead with the chin. The chin stays that same direction, so we don't hyperextend through the neck. Just release the body forward. And you can reach the knees, the shins, the ankles. You may be able to reach the outer edge of the feet. And if you can, if your feet were turning in, not a bad idea. Pull the outer edge of the feet so you can extend through those inner thighs a little bit. The in breath, we always relax the shoulders and lift the rib cage a little bit further. Lift that rib cage away from the hips. The out breath, release the body. In breath, lengthen. Out breath, release. Two more breaths. In breath, see if you can lengthen a little bit further. Out breath, feel the softness. One more, in breath, extend. Out breath, release. Good. And with your next in breath, you can slowly lift the body. Sometimes my lower back is feeling a little sore, so I like to just walk the hands up the legs. That way I have a little bit more opening, a little bit more space. You come into just, if you're comfortable, you can come into a cross-legged. If you're not comfortable cross-legged, just keep the legs extended out in front of you. I think our time is very, very short right now. We appreciate you being here. Letting the hands rest on top of the thighs. With your next in breath, gently lifting palms up towards the sky.